Stephanie Bonehead White is going to take no responsibility in the postgame. The lady refuses to take responsibility for anything, man. The defense is piss poor. You were supposed to be a defensive coach. Why was Aaliyah Boston bringing the ball up in the fourth quarter playing point? None of us know what's going on. It just doesn't make sense. This team look awful. Rotations awful. Just what are you doing? Like, you literally look clueless out there as a head coach. I'm sorry.
Caitlin Clark just stepped up to that post-game microphone and delivered something that ought to have every single person in the Indiana Fever front office breaking into a cold sweat right now. There wasn't any screaming involved, no finger-pointing at reporters, no throwing coaches under any buses whatsoever. She simply did what Caitlin Clark has always done best, which is laying out the pure, unfiltered reality in the most composed and professional manner humanly possible. That reality she shared is so deeply troubling and so fundamentally alarming that the entire Indiana Fever leadership should be huddled in crisis meetings at this very moment. You're tuning into WNBA Pro, and the complete pandemonium that exploded following their season-opening defeat against the Dallas Wings has reached a critical threshold. Right now, we're going to dig beneath those clickbait headlines. We're about to break down the hidden, carefully worded warning Caitlin Clark just transmitted straight to her general manager. We're going to reveal the glaring, self-contradicting coaching disaster from Stephanie White. And we're going to demonstrate precisely why the fan base has erupted into full-scale revolt, sending ticket prices plummeting to what you'd pay for a burger combo. Let's begin with the medical facts, because what Caitlin Clark revealed about her back carries infinitely more weight than whatever showed up on the scoreboard.
Back adjusted, it gets out of line pretty quickly, so just getting my back put back in place a little bit, but other than that, I feel great. Yeah, I feel good. Started off a little slow, I think.
So does this explain the back brace, back pad, heating pad in the preseason that we...
Throughout the second half of that punishing, nationally broadcast overtime defeat to the Dallas Wings, Caitlin Clark disappeared into the locker room on two separate occasions. Twice, the broadcast cameras captured her wincing in obvious discomfort. Photographers documented her receiving active back treatment from medical personnel in between game action. When reporters questioned her about those alarming locker room exits, she responded with 5 very specific words that absolutely nobody in the sports media is emphasizing nearly enough. Her exact words were, "It gets out of line pretty quickly. I need you to truly absorb the meaning of that statement. Her back gets out of line pretty quickly." She didn't describe it as an occasional problem. She didn't frame it as something from a single awkward landing. She used the word quickly, meaning this happens repeatedly and frequently, meaning this represents a persistent, chronic structural issue that will demand relentless, meticulous attention throughout her entire professional basketball career. The Indiana Fever Public Relations Department and head coach Stephanie White are desperately hoping you'll fixate on the conclusion of that statement, where Caitlin added, "Other than that, I feel great." They're praying you'll accept this as ordinary muscle fatigue. Just keep scrolling. There's nothing alarming happening here. But Caitlin Clark's relaxed, straightforward delivery is precisely what makes the whole thing so genuinely frightening. She's discussing her spine sliding out of proper alignment, like she's commenting on the weather forecast. And while she was sharing that disturbing medical disclosure, Stephanie White was positioned at that very same microphone, confessing to a disastrous coaching breakdown.
To be able to set, being able to utilize. Now, I thought our pace was a little sluggish, and that's on us. We have to be more disciplined as a coaching staff, and sticking with our rotations. I felt like maybe we played Kelsey and Caitlin especially a little bit too long in the second half before getting them a blow as we're working back in. But we got some really good looks. I mean, I think that was exactly what we wanted to get.
Stephanie White openly acknowledged that she completely botched the physical workload management of her franchise centerpiece. White explicitly stated, "I feel like maybe we played Kelsey and Caitlin, especially a little bit too long in the second half before getting them a blow." The head coach is publicly admitting that her star athletes were recklessly overextended during the final 30 minutes of basketball. The franchise cornerstone is publicly revealing that her back misaligns quickly and demands multiple in-game physical interventions. These two revelations happened at the identical press conference, and somehow nobody is connecting the obvious dots, so let me spell it out completely clearly. If Caitlin Clark's back shifts out of alignment quickly, the Indiana Fever absolutely cannot risk playing her 35 to 38 minutes every single night. They must manage her playing time with extreme caution. They must give her regular breaks. But the absolutely nightmarish contradiction is this: they cannot give her breaks because the front office completely failed to assemble a bench capable of actually putting points on the scoreboard. Examine the brutal mathematics from opening night. Caitlin Clark, despite requiring mechanical spinal adjustments, delivered 20 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. Kelsey Mitchell poured in 30 points. Aliyah Boston contributed 23 points. Your top 3 players combined for 73 points total, but the secondary guard and wing rotation, the players who are specifically employed to spell Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham logged 25 minutes and scored exactly 3 points. Lexi Hall finished 0 for 2 with 0 points. The rookie Raven Johnson managed 2 points. Tiasha Harris appeared for 4 minutes and scored nothing. And Shatori Walker-Kimbreve, the veteran who exploded for 18 points off the bench during preseason, sat on the sideline in street clothes due to a coach's decision. That's the mathematical catastrophe Stephanie White has trapped herself inside. But it's a catastrophe she's actively worsening through her own inexplicable choices. She understands Caitlin's back is compromised. She understands the Stars desperately need rest, yet she deliberately opts to bench her most productive preseason substitute. And this leads us to the absolute brilliance of Caitlin Clark, because what she communicated at that podium wasn't simply a health status report. It was a coded, exceptionally professional warning delivered straight to General Manager Lynn Dunn and President Kelly Crosskop.
Our offense is obviously not the issue. We're perfectly fine on offense, and there's still so many things we can do better on that end of the floor. But I mean, you got to give Dallas credit; they're really good. They shot the ball incredibly well. Really, the only quarter we put together was the third. I guess in the fourth we were fouling. So, but figured it out a little bit there in the third. We just got to be able to do that a little more consistently. But it was a great test. It was a great game. Our locker room was positive afterwards. So we're not going to hang our heads. We're going to move forward.
The fan base? Those fans decoded the message immediately, and their response has transformed the Indiana Fever social media platforms into absolute battlegrounds.
We got to be more disciplined. It's the difference in their uncontested looks from 3 and our contested looks from 3. Sometimes we were over-rotated when we didn't need to be. Sometimes we had coverage breakdowns. Unnecessarily. We're hanging around, not going to the offensive boards, but not getting back in transition defense. We gave up a lot in transition. All correctable things. Fouling shooters, like fouling jump shooters, all detail-oriented things. And it's just an area that we got to continue to grow. We're not going to be able to outscore teams in this league. Everybody's too good. You got to defend at multiple positions.
The fans don't have patience for carefully crafted justifications. They're focused on wins and losses, and they haven't forgotten that this identical medical and coaching apparatus deliberately misled them last season regarding injuries, purely to preserve the team's public image. When Stephanie White stood before those microphones, confessed she overworked the Stars, and basically suggested the rotation still hasn't been properly figured out, the fan base went into complete meltdown across the internet. The comment sections are absolutely savage. Fans are screaming for accountability. They're witnessing a head coach surrender 107 points to the Dallas Wings while their franchise superstar sits courtside wearing heating pads. And that's the genuine crisis nobody inside the building wants to acknowledge openly. Caitlin Clark just achieved the fastest pace in league history to reach 1,000 points, 250 rebounds, and 250 assists combined. She made history while obviously battling through physical pain. Her resilience is beyond question. Her excellence is beyond question. But the pressure surrounding this franchise is escalating to dangerous levels. Because if Clark's back is already developing into a recurring concern this early in the campaign, then the Fever have a massive crisis they can no longer sweep under the rug. Stephanie White confessed the Stars logged excessive minutes. The bench completely failed to deliver consistent production. The defense utterly crumbled under pressure, and now the entire spotlight has shifted to the front office to resolve this situation before everything falls apart completely. This is WNBA Pro. We analyze beyond the sound bites, we piece together the evidence, and we deliver the truth the mainstream sports media refuses to speak openly. Now, I need your perspective. Did Caitlin Clark subtly transmit a warning message to the Indiana Fever organization following that defeat? Are you concerned about the back situation becoming a season-long crisis, and do you believe Stephanie White deserves criticism for how this game was handled? Drop your thoughts in the comments immediately, hammer that subscribe button, activate the notification bell, and stay dialed in because the pressure surrounding the Indiana Fever is only going to intensify from this point forward.